Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? My name is Ethan, and of course, welcome back to Team 9, an XFL and USFL podcast. I am joined by my co-host John. John, say hi, John.
Hello, and guess who's back? Back again.
Guess who's back?
Let's go. I'm
Felix,
back.
welcome back. Welcome back from Hawaii, man.
Yeah.
How was Hawaii, dude? Was that your first time there?
I've been there one time before, but it was a different island. So my first time on
Uh,
this island specifically.
I
Yeah.
think that's
how many
nice.
islands are makes up Hawaii?
There's a bunch.
Honestly, yeah, I'm not sure. There's a bunch of little scattered ones as well, but I think main islands there's like five or six,
I don't think
like the
like the
bigger
chain
ones.
will ever end. Like I think there's a hot spot under like that point, and if the plate keeps moving, there's always gonna be new islands forming.
Really?
It's like yeah, they're
That's
being
crazy.
built
That's
from
what I
like
learned in science
volcanoes.
class. I could be wrong.
Okay, so
I
there's
mean,
eight major islands it says.
Yeah,
huh.
but then there's
And then
always some
smaller.
forming, even if they don't form as big as the other ones.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Because
interesting.
they're made from volcanoes. Like all of them
Yeah.
are like originally volcanic rock.
Oh, that's cool. So
Yeah.
were you in Honolulu? You were sending some pictures of like the city. Was it Honolulu or
Yeah.
you were...
I was in
Oh, cool.
Honolulu.
So you're
So
on like one of the main islands.
The
yeah,
capital.
like the most
And was
populated
this
island.
yeah, was
Yeah,
this like a
those
class trip?
were dense
Yeah, it was a senior
houses.
trip.
Nice, cool. I know everyone's going on theirs right now. I'm seeing them all over my Snapchat story. But
Yeah.
anyway, on this episode of an XFL and USFL podcast, not a Hawaii science podcast.
It's good to be back though.
Um yeah, I'm great to have you back, my man.
Exactly.
The Brahmas go on the road and beat the Renegades in a horrible to watch 15-9 slugfest in their
Kurt came
second.
in.
Kurt Benkert did come in. We were wrong about that on last week's show. We'll talk about that. Houston, do we have a problem? Houston drops their second straight game. The Roughnecks to the Defenders on Monday Night Football. DC moves to 6-0. Only undefeated team left in the XFL through 6 weeks. And this week we have multiple quarterback moves that will change the foundation of the XFL as we know it. The
Yeah.
Defenders travel to play the Guardians in Orlando this week. This is the biggest. This is the XFL's biggest mismatch so far, as DC is favored by 9.5 points. 6-0 versus 0-6 as well. And the Battlehawks travel to play the Roughnecks in Houston in Team Nine's game of the week. Why don't we just get into last week's games real quick, John?
Let's dive into it.
Let's get into Sea Dragons Guardians.
Okay.
Another one that the Guardians kind of let slip away.
Yeah.
This was one that it felt like was close the entire way. The Guardians had a lead at one point. In fact, they had a lead at halftime. Our boy Quinten Dormady started this game. We will get into him a little bit later. We want to make an update slash correction
Yeah.
on what we said last week. Let's just look at the stats on this one just real quick, and then I'll get into the game, kind of the X's and O's. Ben DiNucci, 18 for 35, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. We'll talk about that pick in a second.
Yeah.
Rushing wise for the Sea Dragons, DiNucci was 6 carries, 43 yards. Darius Bradwell, 12 for 32 yards, and then TJ Hammonds, 2 for 3, but that doesn't really matter as much. Let's get
Nope.
into some of the receiving guys. Blake Jackson, he was the leading receiver, 6 catches, 79 yards, and a touchdown on 7 targets, so only one miss there. Juwan Green, 5 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown on 8 targets. And then Jordan Veazey and Ja'Cory Pearson, both with 7 targets. Veazey with two catches for 22 yards, though. Ja'Cory Pearson with 4 for 18. And here's one that we need to look out for. Josh Gordon, another week of just being shut down. This week, 2 targets, 0 catches. He was held catchless in this game.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll add that to the laundry list here. Things. Quinten Dormady, stat wise, 24 for 44, 243 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks, 44 pass attempts, but pretty pedestrian numbers with the touchdown interception ratio there. Devin Darrington, we'll get into him and his, I guess, costly mistake a bit later, but rushing wise, he played pretty dang well all game.
Yeah.
Seven carries, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns. Very explosive runner for the Guardians. Dormady was also rushing 5 carries, 43 yards. And then Maine Martin, 10 carries, 37 yards. He got the bulk of the carries there for Orlando. Receiving wise, Cody Latimer, 5 catches, 59 yards on 7 targets. But it was Charleston Rambo leading the way with targets, 6 catches, 54 yards on 11 targets. Daniel Williams, 5 catches, 46 yards on 8 targets. Eli Rogers there as well, 3 catches, 40 yards on 5 targets. Um, this was another one the siege that the Guardians felt like they kind of had in their hands here.
Yeah.
The penalties again absolutely killed them. They nearly doubled the number of penalties the Sea Dragons had. The Guardians out penalized the Sea Dragons 13-7. So that's not good for them. Another week where it felt
Yeah.
like they had this game in the bag and the penalties killed them. But let's get into the Sea Dragons here, John, because it was a little bit nerve-wracking, I guess, for them watching this
Yeah.
game if you're a fan early, because it really just felt like they just weren't playing up to the standard. They ended up getting the win in the end with a huge punt block, which we'll talk about in a second. But for Ben DiNucci, I mean, not a horrible game, but not a great game per se. It felt like there was a couple balls that he threw that should have been picked off that weren't.
There definitely were, and then they finally got one in the end zone on the one pick he had, which definitely helped the Guardians out a bit, but again, penalties stalled the drive after that pick, so, like, it didn't really matter. So, yeah, DiNucci not doing anything great in my eyes. He's getting completions here and there, and they are ultimately winning the game, but it's not because of him, it's because of the defense is playing pretty well. And let's talk about special teams here, playing outstanding for the Sea Dragons this week. As you said, the punt block. But not only that, what is it? Kent McKnight? Is that his first? Or McKnight, anyways. Their kick
Yes, the
returner.
kick returner. Yes.
He had 5 regular kick returns for 133 yards, and then 3 punt returns for 71 yards, going up to 200 yards, about 204 yards through the game. Pretty good there. And yeah, he really helped them shorten the field on a lot of drives and getting them towards the end zone, in which DiNucci and the offense just had to finish off with like 50-yard drives.
Right. And it felt like DiNucci is lately. I feel like he tries to play superhero in the red zone, and that's what ends up
He
killing him.
does.
Extending the play out of the pocket, or like about to get sacked and just trying to throw the ball up. That's the spot where you don't want to do that. That's the
Exactly.
spot where you should be willing to take sacks and just take your field goals instead of throwing these interceptions, which keeps these games close. How this was a one possession game.
It
Obviously, we
was.
alluded to that pick. It helped the Guardians take the lead into halftime. But for the Guardians, like you also alluded to, after that interception, um, penalties stalled out their drive. I mean, both sides of the ball got to compliment each other, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Let's just.
I
The
mean,
Guardians had like 13 penalties, I think, in this game.
yeah,
How
not good
many
at
yards
all.
that
Yeah,
translates
like I
into, I
said,
don't know.
they don't have the yards up here for it, but like I said, they out penalized the Sea Dragons 13-7, so they
Yeah,
nearly
that's
doubled the amount
crazy.
of penalties there, which isn't something you can do. You can't have double digit penalties in a game and expect to win, especially in this league.
Yeah. But I'm looking at the
I
stats here, and the Guardians actually out yarded. Is that a thing? Or they had more
out
yards
offense.
than the Sea Dragons by 140.
No, I think watching this game, the Sea Dragons were not playing their best game, and I think the Guardians were in a position to definitely win this game. This was definitely a game that they should have probably won.
Yeah.
The penalties definitely killed them. The pump block, who I need to credit to Elijah Holder, he was the one who got through on that pump block, which then set up the touchdown pass in the fourth quarter. That was to Jawan Green on the touchdown late. So which that get put them up by 8, 26-19 at the after the conversion. And then that gave Orlando one final chance, and it felt like they had a good bit of momentum going with Dormady in the offense. They get it down to Devin Darrington, and Darrington fumbled the ball and lost the game. He had a great game. Otherwise, he had a ton of explosive runs down the stretch for them
Yeah.
to keep them in the game and keep them leading for most of the game. But at the end of the day, he made the mistake at the end. But he kept them in it. So how much can you really hurt him on that? Especially when the
Exactly.
the special teams unit definitely didn't help them earlier in that quarter. Do we have anything else on this game? Oh, Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon.
Completely taken
We
out
said
for the past few
again.
weeks too.
Yeah, we said this last week. We were talking about how he gets taken out of the game. We were talking about the double teams. But at some point, it's like a guy's got to impose his force, right? Especially a guy of Josh Gordon's prowess.
Yeah, I mean, being one of the most athletic guys in this league, or theoretically, I don't know how much we're seeing the past few weeks, but he should be dominating just as far as his NFL experience goes and just how that works. But something I was just thinking about, a lot of the cornerbacks don't really need to have, like, your NFL cornerbacks, yeah, they're going to have great hands and speed. What I'm seeing from the cornerbacks and just safeties in this league is they have good speed, but like in this game, the Guardians missed a lot of picks. So I'm thinking a lot of these guys can keep up with Josh Gordon's speed. They just can't really defend him otherwise. So I think if they get him involved and use his big body rather than just relying on him to get separation. I mean, yeah, you're going to need that every now and again, but use that big body and strength that he has to get those completions on like hooks or something. The big body to kind of box him out box the corner out.
Right. You're right. Yeah. Like a fade route in the end zone or like a
Yeah.
curl, just like a 10-yard curl for a first down. I like that a lot. I like that idea. Again, like we said, to recap this really quick, Sea Dragons do not play their best, but when you play the worst team in the league that's known to not be able to capitalize on mistakes and make a ton of their own,
Yeah.
you can still walk out of that building with a win. And in this case, the Sea Dragons did indeed do that. They moved to 4-2
Mm-hmm.
in the North. Guardians still sitting at 0-6. Let's go to the other Saturday game, the
Can I
between
just
the
real
Battlehawks.
quick,
Oh,
um,
go ahead.
the returner for the Sea Dragons, his name is Kelvin McKnight, not Kent.
Yeah, Calvin. Okay, good.
Yeah.
We appreciate that correction. Thank you, John.
Alrighty, go on.
Um, we're gonna go to the land of we're gonna go to Sin City. We're gonna go to Sin City to talk about the Battlehawks and the Vipers in a Saturday matchup and AJ McCarron. Oh my God, John, break it
Yeah.
down for us.
Alrighty, AJ McCarron doing great stuff here. 23 for 29, great completion percentage there.
Wow.
236 yards and 3 touchdowns. That is great. And then Brian Hill, right? That's
Brian Hill, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, carrying the workload.
13 carries, yeah, and 62 yards, doing pretty well as he leads the rushing attack for St. Louis there. Again, we got Darius Shepard really stepping into the number one receiver, as I'm kind of surprised by that because I thought Hakeem Butler would be their number one guy, but it seems like Darius Shepard has proven himself again and again that he can make the catches when their balls are thrown his way, as he had 7 receptions, 79 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We also had a few other guys going for good numbers, but he was their main guy, as Campbell had 3 for 54 yards, and Hakeem Butler, who I thought would be their star guy, had 5 for 36. Going into the defense, not much there. They did make stops when they had to. You have a few sacks here, and one of the defensive backs had 2 interceptions. I don't
Yeah,
know his
that
name
would have
though.
been
You got his name?
excuse me, trying to remember, Lavert Hill. That would have been
Yeah,
Lavert Hill.
Levert Hill. He had 2 picks, so it really helped them out there. Kick return and punt returns, not much there, as the
I
Battlehawks
think we
just
got to get to the
yeah.
Viper side on offense. I think for sure.
Alrighty, there's just so much to talk about with the Battlehawks, though.
Yeah. I guess before we get off the Battlehawks, so that way we're not flip flopping.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I mean, AJ McCarron, he had a streak of 19 straight completions in this
Yeah,
game at
that
one
was
point.
crazy.
Incredibly impressive. Again, he seems to be like, I think he's like the face of this league, if you ask me.
100%.
Obviously, love the way he played today, and against a struggling defense like this, we expect that out of him a little bit, but it's awesome to still see it. We finally got to see the Battlehawks with the lead, and with that came Brian Hill.
Yep.
He came up limp on one of the plays, but he got back up, came back in the game a
True.
little bit. So Kareem Walker and Mateo Durant both got carries, and in fact, Kareem Walker sniped the touchdown from Brian Hill. So for our our
Yeah.
fantasy players, we're sorry for that. Darius Shepard, obviously big game, like you said. One thing that I did see from him is that he had a drop that would have been a touchdown
Yeah, I did see that.
late in the game. They had a big lead, so it didn't really hurt them that much. But he came back a couple plays later, maybe like a couple like a drive or two later, and made a great catch for a touchdown. So great job just to kind of have a short term memory there and
Exactly.
just have your eyes on the next play, have your mind on the next play. Um, like we said with George Campbell was a little bit of a gadget guy. No, wait, who was the no? The touchdown was Gary Jennings. He was the one with the touchdown. Excuse me. Hakeem Butler. Early in the game, there was a couple drops by these St. Louis offensive
Yeah.
receivers, and like, Butler had a couple of them. And I don't know if it was just like early game nerves, which is something that I don't think he would have in this scenario. It just seemed like a weird thing. Was there anything with that, John? Was like it looked like McCarron was putting the balls right where they needed to be, but like the
Yeah.
Battlehawks, especially for Butler, were dropping them.
I don't know, just the Battlehawks as a whole, they don't necessarily start out the best, which is why you see them losing to DC all the time, or the two times they've played them. Uh,
Yeah, all the time, basically,
yeah.
at this point.
And, I mean, even in this game, the score coming out of the first quarter was 0-0, and the Battlehawks stepped it up from there. But yeah, as a team, they just kind of don't start well. So, something going on there, like maybe first quarter jitters just throughout the season and stuff. But yeah, those drops are definitely going to come back to bite you when you play those better teams like DC and Houston coming up, right?
Right. Another team that doesn't, really come out swinging per se, but gets away with the win, obviously. But they stepped it up late, and McCarron sure did do that. Yeah, the Battlehawks defense played pretty dang well against the Vipers offense that
Yeah.
I don't know, it looked like it had a bit of momentum coming into this game. I hate to say it. But speaking of the Vipers offense, I mean, we have to talk about this quarterback situation.
Oh,
We won't get into the news yet. We have some news later in the show. That
yeah.
was one of those quarterback moves I alluded to. We're not going to spoil that yet. But John, take us inside the game here.
So, to start the game, we saw Luis Perez come out as the starter, which I thought was the right move. He played great in the week before this, but he came out, went 13 for 20, 99 yards, and two picks. So, excuse me, just not a recipe for success when he was on the field this week, and they ended up bringing Brent Hundley in to the game, and he went 50% on 9 of 18 attempts, going for 120 yards and a touchdown. So he definitely gave them that spark that these quarterbacks seem to bring in whenever they get into the game. But we'll see how they go from this week, as it looks like they will be going with Huntley going forward, but we'll get into that later. Not much going in the rushing attack. Love it. 6 attempts, 19 yards. Not much to say about that. Receiving, love Jordan Lovett. I saw him do a lot of good things in the receiving yards, and he was their lead receiver. 3 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. But it's not really something you want to see when a running back takes over that receiving attack for you.
Right.
And there wasn't much after that. Martavius Bryant came in is his uh, game back, as he was out the previous week. He went 3 catches, 30 yards, not much going on there. But
I remember him having like a really nice catch on the sideline. I remember, but
yeah,
that
he
was
definitely
about it.
did. I saw that too. But apart from that,
Yeah.
there wasn't much there.
Yeah, I mean, pretty looking at these receiving numbers, all other than the one touchdown from John Lovett thrown by Brett Hundley late in the game.
Oh,
I
is it
mean,
John Lovett? My bad.
it's John Lovett. No, you're good. I just thought I'd let you cook.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than your garbage time touchdown from your backup quarterback, I mean, pretty sad receiving numbers. Not really much there.
Yeah.
Um, I felt like the Vipers took too long to switch to Hundley.
Yeah, they definitely
I didn't
did.
under I didn't even understand the switch back to Luis Perez in the first place a couple of weeks ago. To be honest with you,
But it ended up working for them, so you gotta give them credit for seeing
I'll give
something,
them
right?
credit for what they did, right? But it always felt like Hundley should have been the guy. Like, see, he was in for that Sea Dragons game played really well. He wasn't the reason they lost that game. He was the reason
No.
they were even in it. And then after that, Perez comes back in after a couple Brett Hundley struggles, right? I believe. And then but
Yeah,
then they just stuck with Perez the last couple weeks, even through thick and thin. And I guess this was the last straw for them.
it
But again,
was.
we will get into that. Not much else, right here. I think we're
No,
pretty much
defense
done.
didn't do much. Had a sack, had actually 3 sacks, so did pretty good, but no O line is really that good in this league. So I would be expecting those sack numbers, kind of. Yeah, let's just move on to the San Antonio Arlington game.
Oh God. Well, here we are in round two. This one in Arlington.
Yeah,
This is one that me and you both called for the Renegades.
yeah,
And chaos kind of ensued when watching this game. For a 15-9 game, like sure, it was to be honest with you, it was actually a pretty entertaining 15-9
it
game with
was.
everything
Yeah,
going on. With all the I guess we'll get into it now. There was a lot of quarterback switches. So Brahmas going into this one with the lack of coverage that the XFL seems to get from the mainstream media. Suddenly, 5 minutes before kickoff, I learned that Jack Cohn, the Brahmas starting quarterback going into the season, was out, and so was Reed Sinnett,
they're
and
backup.
he was the second string. Yeah. So then they had to bring in Jawan Pass, who backed up Lamar Jackson at Louisville in 2017.
Really?
Um, yeah, I remember hearing that on the
Huh?
broadcast. And we said he probably wouldn't play, but the beautiful, wonderful Kurt Benkert actually ended up playing in this game as well.
He did.
Um, so the Brahmas really, I mean, their offense didn't really do much. I guess we'll just do the stats here first, and then I'll talk about the game flow,
Yeah, go
kind of.
for it.
Um, Jawan Pass started this game 8 for 14, 57 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, pedestrian numbers not even, kind of sad. Kurt Benkert, yikes, man. So, for context, let me add this, and I saw there were some rumblings on Twitter about this. People were mad. Kurt Benkert got the post-game interview, and this was his stat line afterwards. He didn't remember. Reminder: he didn't even start the game. Kurt Benkert finished 1 for 6, 2 yards and a pick. That was his stat line. And you're
Yeah,
probably thinking, oh, he must have had a big rushing day. No, 2 carries, 5 yards. Um, ESPN, I get the whole, oh, this guy came in on Thursday and he played in the game and they won is cool, but the
yeah.
guy did not play well at all.
No, he did not have his Baker Mayfield debut.
Right. It's funny, he compared it on Twitter before the game. He was talking about like, oh, whoever gets signed on Thursday and then like plays on Sunday or whatever, and then he's like, Baker did ball out though, which I thought was funny.
Yeah,
But Kurt sure didn't, I will say that much. Let's get into the run game here. Jaquez Patrick, 15 carries, 82 yards. Juwan Pass, 4 carries, 21 yards. Obviously, like an option quarterback, like I said, backed up
yeah.
Lamar in 2017 at Louisville, so it kind of fits that system. I actually like him a lot for this team, for the Brahmas,
Hmm.
not necessarily because of the scheme, but because the O line is like horrendous. It's been the worst part of
Swiss
their offense all
cheese.
year. Swiss cheese O line, probably the worst in the league.
Definitely
And
one of
I
them, if
and
not
I
the
I
one.
think that pass definitely complements this line better than the other quarterbacks they've had in this
Oh
year.
yeah,
Obviously now they have four. Nothing really talk about receiving. All pretty sad numbers. I will talk about TJ Vasher. This man got 7 targets, but only had one catch for 22 yards. This guy's an absolute monster, and Benkert and Pass could not put a single pass on him to save their damn lives. Very frustrating to watch. Oh yeah, and Kurt Brankert had a fumble. Just thought I'd know. Oh
yeah.
wait, oh he recovered it. Never mind. He recovered it.
It
Excuse
was
me.
a bad
But
snap, I
oh,
remember. So
oh right. Oh okay, that's what they're talking about. Excuse me then. Yeah, okay, not really his fault then. There. We'll get into the defense, I guess. We'll talk about defense. Tenny Adewusi, he had an interception that ended up being the one that won them the game at the end. But let's go to the Renegade side here. Yeah, this was basically a preseason game for both sides. This game was literally we hyped it up as the back to back, like kind of a big deal because back to backs don't really happen in football. And both these teams treated it like a preseason game. It was probably the most important game of the season.
yeah,
Uh, Kyle Sloter started the game. His final stat line, 6 for 13, 22 yards, zero touchdowns, zero picks. Eek. I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. Drew Plitt, though, 10 for 16. He came into the game, 10 for 16, 163 yards, a touchdown and a pick. I mean, meh.
Yeah.
Devion Smith, he was their leading rusher, 10 carries, 42 yards. Letty Brown also was in there, 11 carries, 38 yards. Quarterback rushing stats are super sad. We're not going to look at that. Um, and then all this, yeah, this receiving is also very sad. Oh, well, I'll spotlight LeJuan Winningham, but you know what? We'll get into that in a minute. He only had one catch, but the catch of the year, guys. Might have been the catch of the
It
year.
was.
Oh, and Donald Payne had an interception, which gave the Renegades momentum, which led to
Yeah.
that touchdown. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, so the Brahmas jump out in this game 9-0 thanks to a Drew Plitt fumble, scoop and score touchdown. So that was pretty dang crazy. I want to say who was that on the touchdown, the fumble recovery? That was Jordan Williams, who I want to say is leading the XFL in tackles, or is that Delonte Scott? I forget.
Either
Let me
way, it's
look
the
at the
same team, right?
same team, but I just want to give credit where credit's due. Jordan Williams, yeah, so the leading tackler
Yeah.
in the XFL. Oh, and Delonte Scott was the one who forced it, but Jordan Williams, the leading tackle in the XFL, brings it back for a touchdown, makes it 9-0. Browns going into half. But both Slaughter and Plitt had got nothing going at this point. But then Plitt comes into the game at the start of the second half. They get a field goal, but then the Brahmas throw an interception to
Yeah.
Donald Payne, who threw the pick. No, that was Benkert, right? Yeah, that was
Benkert threw
Benkert.
that, yeah.
That was Benkert's one pick. Which then sets up the Renegades in okay scoring position. So then it's they're trying to get down and scoring. It's like third. I want to say it's like third goal, isn't it? Like third down.
Sounds right.
You know where I'm going with this. Um,
Yeah.
Plitt kind of throws this one up to the end zone, and Juwan Winningham. I mean, just look up the catch because sadly this is a podcast, we can't show it. But catch of the year, this guy made an insane
Oh,
play
yeah.
going up to get the ball, tied the game. Felt like Renegades had all the momentum, but Brahmas go down, score, or was it a score? I'm trying to remember exactly. But it was a game where yeah, okay, so no punt, touchdown, touchdown. No, so they don't it takes them a while, but they get a field goal in the fourth quarter. So then now they're up 3. So the Renegades have a chance to go score. They get a huge play. I forget exactly by who. It's not coming to me at the moment. Let me see if I can find it. Who was it?
While
Oh my
you
goodness.
look for that, I'll just say it was another one of these games where the winning team had less total yards. Yeah, don't really expect that. And they also had less time of possession. But I guess time of possession doesn't really matter in this league as much. At least that's what I'm seeing, as it more relies on the big plays you get through the whole game.
Right. And the big play came for Arlington late. Drew Plitt with a huge bomb to Devontae Payton. It looked like kind of like a busted coverage, like the safety didn't get over in time and the corner just kind of got burned. Um, but Renegades stall out there, so they have to kick a field goal. And let's just say that Taylor Russolino, he missed. He missed the field goal. It was like a 36 yarder, I want to say. He's been pretty good all year, so an uncharacteristic miss by him. But the Brahmas go down. They get another field goal from John Parker Romo, which makes it a
Oh,
six
yeah.
point lead for the Brahmas. And then obviously when the Renegades are trying to go down, Plitt trying to hurry it all up, and then they throw the pick to Mister Tenny Adewusi to end the game.
Yeah.
So overall, I mean, God, it felt like a preseason game. I will say that Plitt led all scoring drives. He led well all two scoring drives. Slaughter, when the offense was out there for him, did nothing. But it felt like there was a lot of drop passes when Slaughter was out there. I didn't necessarily think that all of that was his fault, but call me what you want, I guess, in the
Yeah.
comments. But this was just a game where the obviously that fumble return for a touchdown by the Brahmas early definitely swung momentum, and then that field goal at the end missed by Arlington was huge. This was a game of where it was going to come down to which offense made less mistakes, and in this one it was the Brahmas.
Yeah. And they
Um,
controlled some of the game with their running game as well. But I guess
For sure,
both teams had quite a few running attempts, didn't they? Rushing attempts.
they definitely had both teams definitely tried to establish the run. Slaughter, I remember on the sideline interview was like, "Hey, we need to throw the ball," and he didn't really get his wish. I'll say that much.
Yeah,
But in a game where we came in and saying it was a really important game, both these teams played it like a preseason game. And now one of the quarterbacks will just, I guess, kind of spoil it for the Renegades. We'll tease it, is now off the team. So
yeah,
we'll get into that in a minute. But let's get into a game that was hyped up and did it? I don't really know. I mean, it was hyped up a lot.
it was.
I don't know. This was the game of the week. This is Monday Night Football. Houston Roughnecks, DC Defenders here in DC. John, what do you got for us, my man?
Well, let's start with the Roughnecks over here. They started out the game with Brandon Silvers. He went 10 for 17 for 111 yards, no touchdowns, but he did have a pick, which was a pick six, very costly. Might have cost them the game, or at least it cost them momentum that they could have had. Going further through the game, we saw, what's his first name? McDonald? I forgot.
Cole McDonald.
Colt McDonald. He came in 8 of 11, 194 yards and a touchdown. He also ran 6 times for 37 yards and a touchdown. So he really gave them a spark on all sides of the offense there. But we also saw Max Borghi, right? Go
Max
for
Borghi, yeah.
11 attempts, but not much production there as he had 11 carries for 25 yards. Not really something you like to see, but he did have 2 touchdowns, and I do know that a lot of his carries were in short yardage situations. So maybe not a bad game if you look at it holistically. Going
Right.
into receiving, oh, you got something?
Oh, really quick, really quick. I would say, first of all, Max Borghi's like just, I guess, just not even like NFL player resemblance or just like football player resemblance, but his resemblance to Christian McCaffrey is stunning. Look it
Oh
up,
yeah, it
please.
is.
But Borghi, yeah, definitely a short down guy. He's been good for them all year when they've needed him. Yeah, for McDonald, definitely feel like he kept them in this game, but we'll get into that a little bit
Yeah.
later as we get into game flow.
Taking it over to the receiving game here, we had Deontay Burnett leading the way for the Roughnecks with 4 receptions, 122 yards, a long touchdown on an 85-yard touchdown pass and catch. Great game for him. We also saw Travell Harris getting involved there. 5 catches, 60 yards. Not much else going on there though. And defense, no turnovers forced, which is unlike this defense. You usually see them flying around. They also only had 1 sack. Interesting to see.
Yeah, I definitely give credit though to what's it called? DC for sure on offense, which we'll get into in a second.
And that's about it, I think, on this side. You got
Yeah, let's
anything
get into
else?
the
Yeah.
the winning side. I mean, I think for the Roughnecks, I guess we'll get into it, but I think they're really feeling the impact of John Trey Kirkland being out for the season now, which is
100%, yeah.
huge for them.
He was Brandon Silver's favorite target, at least, and you can see that he's very much missing him, and he's not going for much, and he's not making much production up for it. So,
Right. Definitely hard to fill that hole.
yeah, he is a great receiver, but you gotta play with the cards you're dealt, right?
Exactly.
Take it over to the defenders side for us. You got that? Or you
Yeah,
want
I
me
got
to?
that. I got it for you guys. Yeah. So Jordan Tamu passing 19 completions, 31 attempts, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Great game from him. Again, this was another one where I guess I heard in the broadcast they were saying, "Oh, people doubted Jordan Tamu coming into this game saying he couldn't make the plays on third down." I was proven wrong on that like in week 3, so I don't
Yeah,
know
I
what
know.
the announcers were watching. I already sent my apology letter to Jordan Tamu personally, so I don't need to apologize again. At this point, I'm rooting for the guy. Let's go, Jordan.
Yeah,
Love it out of him. Abram Smith continuing to be a monster. 19 carries, 95 yards, and a touchdown. Guy just churns out yards.
yeah,
Absolute
he's
beast.
doing well.
Yeah, he looks amazing. I mean, he was the first overall pick for a reason. The guy,
Yeah,
I mean, for XFL MVP, I mean, he
very
looks like he
possible.
might be that. Raquel Armstead, 8 carries, 26 yards. Nice little thunder to Abram Smith's lightning, you might
Yeah.
say. But Lucky Jackson, I touched on this last
Oh
week. I
yeah.
know he didn't have a huge one last week, but I was said that I thought he was going to be their breakout guy. He has indeed been that. Lucky Jackson, 5 catches, 136 yards, and a touchdown on 8 targets. The guy was he was the one who was making a lot of the big plays. Taco was checking up a lot of these balls, and it felt like some of the receivers couldn't come down with it. But Jackson, if you could just give him an opportunity, it felt like he was coming down with it.
Yeah, he's moved his
Uh,
way to third most receiving yards in the league. So good for
oh,
him.
thank you for that. Nice, good stuff. Yeah, well, I mean, other than Lucky Jackson, honestly, looking at this, not a lot. Josh Hammond, 5 catches, 65 yards. Ethan Wolf, 3 catches, 21 yards. Abram Smith, 2 catches, 10 yards. Um, oh yeah, and then Alex Ellis had the touchdown. He only had 1 catch for 1 yard. That was a 1 yard touchdown, which we'll get into in a minute. Defensively, the man with the pick six, Santos Ramirez,
Yep.
brought it all the way back in that. What was it? The second quarter it would have been. That would have changed the momentum because I think
Yeah, it
it was the
was.
first quarter where they because Houston. I guess we'll get into it now because I think we're basically done here.
Hmm.
I mean, Houston jumped out to an early lead in this game, eight to
They did.
nothing. I mean, they
Yeah.
came out early, swinging. But a 14 to nothing quarter by DC swung it back in their favor. Silver started to struggle. He was struggling all night, really, to be
He
honest with
really
you.
was.
But I really want to spotlight this third quarter, and this is where I think things truly went wrong for the Roughnecks. DC had two scoring drives in this quarter, and I felt like they were the real killers in this one. So, and here's why. Once we get down here into the third quarter, um, but DC gets it into the Houston 20-yard line, so the Roughnecks really need to make a stop here. But on a 2nd and 4 at the Houston 4, so second and goal at the 4, Jack Heflin, a guy who's been in the NFL, he was a defensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers, gets an unsportsmanlike conduct play. I think it was, or it might have been unnecessary roughness, but he gets thrown out of the game for hitting Tamu late. It was unnecessary roughness. That's what it
Yeah.
was. And
I
then, yeah, and then, not to mention, Jordan Mosley, the very next play gets penalized, and then he puts it, and then so that gives them DC another first and goal, to which then they run it with Armstead for nothing, but then Tamu finds Alex Ellis for that 1 yard touchdown I was talking about. But that's just a killer right there. Two penalties on back to back plays on the goal line to give DC first and goal. That's not what you like to see if you're Houston.
Yeah, I mean, penalties were kind of the name of the game besides that pick six by Brandon Silvers, as the Roughnecks had 12 penalties, a lot of which were big yardage penalties, either holding, roughing calls, which are 15 yards, and the defenders only had three penalties called against them, so that was a big factor in their win this week.
John, stay on, my man, because I got another one for you here, another like puzzler. Very next drive, Ajay Harris, he gets penalized twice. The
Yeah.
the first one doesn't really matter as much, but the second one, kind of a weird situation where we're hearing the refs on the mics and they say number three for unsportsmanlike conduct. He squirted me with a water bottle, is what one of the officials said. John, what the heck was going on there, man? Because we never actually got to see the clip.
Yeah, I have no clue, and it doesn't even seem like the ref really took it that hard, or at least the head ref just kind of chuckled at it. Yeah, I don't exactly know what would drive somebody to squirt a ref with the water bottle, especially when you absolutely whole 100% know that they are gonna call unsportsmanlike conduct, right? I don't
Right.
understand why you would squirt a ref with a water ball. There's just no benefits that could come out of that unless you're really unhappy with how the game's been called. But I actually thought this was a pretty good called game by the ref team there.
For me, it's like if Jack Heflin's gonna get ejected for the unnecessary roughness to Tamu,
Yeah.
I thought that. Ajane Harris, I guess in the NFL, I mean, contact with an official like that. I know he didn't make contact with him, but it's squirting the guy with a water bottle. I mean, shouldn't that be like an instant ejection?
Yeah, I guess, and it would be in the NFL, and we have no real context behind it other than just the call itself. So
I mean,
I,
again, like what makes this puzzling is that we have no video evidence of this even
yeah,
happening.
that
There's
especially.
no, we don't know if it looked like like if it was like a mistake or if it was like legitimately the guy Ajane was upset at something and wanted to squirt the official with a water bottle. I mean, either way, it led to a field goal by DC, which again another one where it just felt like DC they have the most experienced coach in the league in Wade Phillips, with 40 plus years of coaching experience, and they were this undisciplined. I mean, like Houston, do we
Yeah,
have a problem?
I I think there has been a problem in the past 2 weeks, but I will say that I saw Colt McDonald play, and I think they will do very well in the final weeks of this season just because he looked very comfortable in the pocket, unlike Brandon Silvers and a lot of other quarterbacks in this league. So I think he has the confidence to lead this team to some, even an undefeated last 4 weeks of the season.
I like it. I'm not completely sold on, or no, listen. I like Cole a lot, and I like his what's it called? Like rushing ability. I think that really adds an extra dimension. But I'm not completely sold on Silver's just being done. The guy felt like it's weird because it felt like the thing that he was used to be really good at was whenever the pressure came and delivering a ball over the middle, like on those first 4 weeks of the season, like that was kind of his thing. First, like 4 weeks of the season, he was standing in the pocket and taking hits and delivering these strikes right down the
Yeah,
middle, and just doesn't seem like it's happening anymore. Cole McDonald adds an extra layer to this offense. That's why he's been in the game before, and he's been in on
hmm
gadget plays. Looks like he might maybe gets a shot at starting this week. We don't really know. No word there
I definitely
yet.
think there's a shot of him starting.
I definitely think there's a shot of him starting, but we don't know what the word is. But I wouldn't close the door on Silvers yet. I don't think it's his time's done yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what this, like, how many times he threw it to John Trey Kirkland over those first 4 weeks. I assume it's a lot if he's losing this much production by just him being out. I mean, I know he's a great receiver and all, but you gotta figure out some way to get another guy involved. And I will say that I don't see a lot of the other receivers getting open with John Trey being out, so that could also be a thing. Another thing is that open. Some people have different views of how somebody is open. Like in the NFL, it's 1 foot away from the cornerback is open.
Right.
But in this league, I don't know. There's no real definition of what open is yet, just because it's still new and everybody. I
Yeah,
mean,
we
even
don't
though
we
it
don't know
is
the coach
7 weeks
speak yet.
straight,
Right.
I
All
don't
right.
know.
Yeah. For me, yeah. I mean, it feels like John Trey Kirkland. I mean, like, should he have this much of an? I guess he maybe he does have this much of an impact, but it just feels weird that him just seeing suddenly being gone makes Houston this. I don't know, like not pathetic, but like not as productive. It's just very strange to me. Any other words on this game?
Um, Possibly one other reason Colt did so much better than Brandon Silvers when he came in is because they were kind of desperate and they just were like, screw it, we just gotta kind of chuck up balls to some guys if they come down with it. I mean,
I also think it helped that I'm sure like DC was playing back. It seemed like a lot more, and
yeah,
obviously, what's it called? McDonald's already a scrambler, so it's like that you're stretching the field with the backed up coverage, and then you're also stretching the field with the fact that McDonald's a runner. Definitely felt like
yeah,
they kind of gave them a couple drives at the end, but hey, I'd love to see him next week and see how he does.
me too.
All right. This is time for our around the XFL segment that we added 2 weeks ago now. Um, there's no new article from our man Kevin Seifert at ESPN. We're really sorry about that. Um, Kevin, I'm sure, is hard at work at whatever he's doing next. He's our guy. He's been our guy, I guess. Anyway, but we do want to give updates to one story, and we also want to give some news. So let's do the update first. I'm going to read you guys an article on ClutchPoints.com. It says absolute bullshit, but the shit is, you know, uh, censored out. XFL's Quinten Dormady sounds off after the accusations of leaking team's playbook. So this is back to Quinten Dormady. We never really got to conclude this story last week. We got to touch on it a little bit, but not really because the athletic article that contained all the information on this Dormady situation and how everything cleared up was locked behind a paywall on the athletics website. Neither of us have a subscription, or none of us have a subscription. So we could not access that. So I just wanted to let the information sit there and see if anything more came out in these next week or so, to see if we get any more information. But this is all we have left. So at this point, I'm just going to read it to you guys and we'll discuss it, okay?
Alrighty.
This is by Alex House at ClutchPoints. Orlando Guardians quarterback Quinten Dormady is a vindictive man after an XFL investigation concluded he was not guilty of leaking his team's playbook despite accusations that suggested otherwise. Although he has returned to the team, it was an emotionally draining ordeal that has naturally left some frustration. Here's the quote from Dormady. My name has been tarnished and defamed for things that were completely false. And that's not just for this team or for any of this. This is for my lifetime, Dormady told the Athletics' David Ubben. You Google the name Dormady, and the only thing that pops up is this. The former Tennessee Signal College announces the claims as bogus and absolute bullshit. That's the quote. We don't need to really read the rest of this article. It's just a bunch of kind of
Yeah.
background information on Dormady. But I mean, yeah, we at the time we had thought this was true because we had thought there's no way that this stuff like could just be like, I don't know, like just come out without like some evidence coming out. But
Yeah.
apparently this is the claim. Let me find the tweet. Where did I put the tweet at?
Rather
Oh, here we
than
go.
like
So here's a tweet from at James Larson PFN. That's his Twitter handle. He got information from the Athletic article here, so he had the subscription, so he read it. He summarizes the Quinten Dormady hashtag XFL situation is wild. In a nutshell, per at the Athletic, he told Brahma's quarterback Reed Sinnott, a good friend of his, that he wouldn't be playing in week 2. This was common knowledge. Somehow that got twisted into Dormady leaking plays, which never happened. And then he says, while all details haven't been made known to the public, thankfully Dormady was cleared from this mess. But that was 5 days ago, and we still haven't really got anything else other than that Athletic article. But what do we think about this? I know we kind of went on him, but that's only because we had thought like there's no way that stuff can just like come out of nowhere. But the fact that it got spun that much is not right, if you ask me. What do we think about this, guys?
yeah, I honestly can't believe just okay. Well, I don't know how much common knowledge it was that he wasn't going to be playing just because of the bad coverage of the.
I was about to say, I mean, maybe in Arlington where like the where all the teams are super tight and they're practicing like in the same facilities and everything, I could see maybe that that information got spread around.
Yeah.
But for us in the mainstream media and us in the public, we didn't hear anything about it. But I'm sure for the two buddies who are friends, I'm sure that was, I'm sure that was probably common knowledge to them. But somehow that got twisted. I mean, it's
I
just a
mean,
crazy situation.
you think about the grand scheme of things and just kind of rumors in general, like even if you just kind of scale it down to individual life, like people hear things so differently and you can tell one person one thing and then next thing you know, you hear like 2 days later, it's like some completely outrageous, completely
That is
different
true.
thing. And it's like, how did that even like happen? It's just like little things change from person to person. And for all we know, the one person that decided to release this to the media and the XFL just completely blew it out of proportion, or someone told them um, something that was incorrect, or who really knows how it sprung out of control, and who even knows if this is true. Like, it's still possible that he was leaking plays. It's not certain whether he was or not still, if we're being
Right.
honest
This
here.
athletic article seems to be pretty confident in the claim they're making.
Yeah, I mean, it
Um,
really could go either way
I
still,
just don't
but
know how it got twisted that much.
I
I'm
guess
not
if
like
certainly
they
wouldn't
are
surprise
good
me.
friends, maybe they could exchange
I,
kind of. Oh, for our guys, when we called this, they're gonna run this route, and maybe it was like a back and forth like that. But I don't think they're gonna
maybe.
exchange complete plays like, oh, trips right, Vegas slants, like that's kind of.
Okay, well, I was gonna say it really could go either way. Who knows if it's true or if it's not? If it isn't true, it's really unfortunate for Dormady. Obviously, that's a career. that literally puts your career in the dirt. So I
Oh
hope
yeah.
that his sake thing he can bounce back, especially if the rumors are false. But yeah, no, things get twisted in all sorts of ways. Who knows how that happened? It probably just went. My best guess is it just went through a chain of people in the XFL, and by the time it reached the media, it was just completely blown out of proportion. And
Yeah.
based on the confidence of this article, I guess we'll make the assumption that the rumors are false.
Right.
And I certainly hope they are. So, hopefully everyone involved can kind of move on, and everyone in the public can kind of move on, forgive Dormady, and everyone can just move on from the situation.
Right, definitely really weird. It seems like the Athletic article is pretty confident with their claims. Seems like the XFL is pretty confident in their investigation. Seems like Dormany's been pretty clear to this. Again, this
Yeah.
quote, my name has been tarnished into fame for things that were completely false, and that's not just for this team or for any of this. This is for my lifetime. Dormady told the Athletics David Ubin, so that's the guy who covered the story. You Google the name Dormady, and the only thing that pops up is this. So I think that's the one that hits home the most for me. Or not hits home, but I guess just hits the most for me personally, just to hear that from him.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of like if let's. I'm just gonna say the rumors are false right now. It kind of just takes society into account as a whole. This is gonna get kind of philosophical, but like the whole thing around cancel culture and all that kind of shit is kind of
Right.
sad
People
in
jumping the
general.
gun,
Yeah,
people wanting to bring another person
like
down.
at this
No,
point,
I think I
it's let me get the first to that story because I need to get successful. Which yeah, good for you, but it's gonna tarnish somebody else. So is it worth the risk? And then if you're wrong, then it tarnishes your reputation because you just reported the wrong thing, right? So I don't know.
no, I mean I think that's really prominent right now, especially I know Adam Schefter's kind of gone through a little bit of that heat in the sports media world, so it's definitely a big topic in this industry, so I'm glad you brought
Yeah,
that up actually. Okay, are we ready to get into the X's and O's moves this week that
sure.
shocked me at least. John, what do you got for us coming out of Arlington?
Alrighty, so on Monday, March 27th, the Arlington Renegades released quarterback Kyle Sloter.
Oh,
And something that I thought came out of left field, I thought he would have been a good backup just in general. Like, there must be something that was like, oh, this guy's not good in the locker room, or something there that made them just full heartedly release him. Because I don't know. He seemed to play well enough that I would keep him as a backup.
oh yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, for me, I've personally got to talk to Kyle Slater, which is pretty cool. Last year,
Yeah.
I got to meet him at a USFL game. I got to talk to him post game. He was a really nice guy. I don't think it's anything locker room. He seemed a bit frustrated with the offensive coordinator and the offensive play calling. Like I said in that past game, he said that I think we need to like throw the ball. He seemed like he was pretty frustrated with the play calling. So maybe there was a dispute there. But he seems like a great locker room guy. I don't think that was the problem. I think it was probably more of just like a coordinator,
Yeah.
head coach thing. But I think we'll get a shot somewhere else. I just don't know where
Hopefully he does.
necessarily,
I mean,
especially
maybe he
with
goes back to the USFL.
hey, us breakers, we'd love to have you back, Kyle. We'd love to have
Yeah.
you back. Let's run it back, baby.
Um.
Yeah, yeah. So that was an interesting move. But John, give us another crazy move here. This one a trade. Our
So
first
the
really big
day.
trade in the XFL.
Yeah. So the day after Monday, so Tuesday, March 28th, the Arlington Renegades trade Ryan Mueller, linebacker out of Kansas State, for quarterback Luis Perez.
Wow.
They
Wow.
give Ryan Mueller to Vegas, and Vegas sends Luis Perez over to Arlington. Um,
Uh, I mean, how much better, if at all, is Luis Perez than Kyle Sloter to me?
I
I
don't
guess
know, but I
maybe
would
they're.
say Luis Perez has put up the better numbers in this league. Just
Mm,
going off a stat basis, he's definitely been the
right.
better guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess watching them, I don't see a big difference between the two. And maybe they're just trying to bring in another, like a new guy, kind of.
Yeah, I
Because at
could
this
see.
point, what does Arlington have to lose at this point? We've talked about them. They're kind of like the midlife crisis of the XFL right now, where they don't know what the hell they're trying to do. Like their defense is
Yeah,
great, and their run game is could be better if they had a passing game to complement it, but they don't. So teams will just stop the run, and they're forced to throw. And they, for whatever reason, they just haven't been very Good. So I feel like they always had the talent, but I guess for Arlington, this brings in another guy that they can try and use. Um, if this was last week, I would probably say that I don't expect Luis Perez to play this week, but after seeing Benkert come out there, throw six passes,
Yeah,
complete one to the other team, I mean, anything's possible, I guess. Um, I guess on the Vegas side, this opens it up for Brett Hundley, right? You gave him the reins basically at this point in the season, right?
exactly.
With his team.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be excited to watch him play as I have been all season. I think he can definitely give them something to give the whole team something to get behind and a dynamic offense rather than just pass. You got the some read option coming in and some running and all that. So I'm gonna be excited to watch Vegas.
Yeah, and he also seems like he's been like a great locker room guy. Like I guess on like the
Exactly.
mic ups that I've seen like during the games and just after the games, it just like he seems like he brings great energy and just keeps it loose. Like he's just out there having fun. So that's what we like to
Exactly.
see out of him. All right, so this is where we would usually go to our power ranking segment, and this late in the season, we think that it's more important to actually look at where every team's at in the playoffs right now. This is our playoff picture segment. Now a new segment for the next 4 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So, John, what are we looking at here? So obviously, what are you going to do? North Division first?
Let's do it.
All right, cool.
So, taking a look at the North Division, obviously the only undefeated team being the DC Defenders at the top, 6-0, probably definitely guaranteed a playoff spot. If not, they probably need one win or two to secure that. Coming in Vegas, the stinker of this division, 1-5. Uh, Maybe they still have a shot if they can win out, but probably not going to make the playoffs this season. It's really in
I
the
mean,
middle here with St. Louis and Seattle tied at 4-2. That is the playoff race we're going to be seeing in the North, most likely.
right. Um, let's just break this down really quick. I guess Vegas. I guess we'll just start with Vegas at the bottom here, just to kind of get them out of the
Yeah,
way. I mean, you're gonna have to win out, right, if you want to have a chance. Because St.
yeah,
Louis and Seattle's gonna play each other again, so that gets a team to 5 wins. That gets them both to 5 wins, which means, or that gets one of them at least to 5 wins, and then that doesn't even include the three other games they play, where they could, all they need is one win there. So Vegas would have to win out. Um, I mean, do they? I mean, looking at their schedule, I mean, let me look at it here.
they play
They
St.
play they
Louis.
play
Let's
San
see.
Antonio this weekend. Then they travel to St. Louis. That's gonna be a tough environment too. That could be a game that eliminates from for the playoffs, and they're gonna be in St. Louis to do it. Yeah, good luck. Then they go to play Houston, and then they travel to play Seattle. So what is that? Three road games in a row to end the season? Jeez. Not great for Vegas. I don't see it, right? I don't see it here.
No, definitely not. I don't see how they can.
All right. Defenders. Just to like get this one seed because in the USFL last year, which is the last time we really had like the spring football league, with these shorter season. Um, it didn't really matter about who had home field because the games were at a neutral site. But in this one, it does because now we have like home crowds and home fields, especially between St. Louis and DC and those crowds and Seattle. I mean, this is an important race to go down to the wire. Um, Looking at their schedule, DC travels to play Orlando this week. Then they travel to play Seattle. Next game. Okay, my computer's not going to load that. Never mind.
Then
Um,
they are at home at Arlington.
yep, and then they go to play San Antonio in week 10. Um, Looking at those games, is this team going undefeated?
I could see it.
I can see it too. So let's say you beat Orlando this week. Let's say but then you have to play. I think the toughest one's going to be the Seattle one, right? For sure.
Yeah, 100% there.
Week after this, if you can get through that, then it's definitely possible. Because then you host Arlington, who's we'll see how they look in 2 weeks. But right now they've been a train wreck,
I don't know. They might
and
take their starters out for the last week San Antonio game.
they could. That's possible. We'll see. It depends who's if and either of these teams are on their ass, or like if they've already won or if they've lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, between these two teams, between St. Louis and Seattle, I guess since we don't have a power ranking segment anymore, it's like who do you really see finishing the season out strong?
I'm gonna have to take St. Louis there.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
What makes you take St. Louis over Seattle?
Quarterback.
Uh, I mean
Put it
that's a fine and
simply.
dandy answer right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Seattle. Okay, I don't want to spoil it, I guess, for our picks later. Yeah, I mean, both these teams play each other again, so still a lot of ball to play there. So a little too early to kind of look and choose there. But I would also go with um, St. Louis if I had to pick one now. I'd say.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Seattle didn't really impress me this week, and then Danucci's turnovers are going to bite them in the ass like they did earlier in the year at some point later down the stretch
Exactly.
here, I think. So that's what we think right now. It's still a lot of ball to play in that division, but just an early look at kind of the top team, the worst team, and the two teams fighting. All right, the South. I mean, I don't know what to think of it at this point, right? The South, kind of a
Very
wacky
close top three.
post top three.
Orlando bringing up the rear at 0-6 there.
Uh, yeah. Um, I mean, I guess we'll just talk about get out of the way. Orlando's out of this, right?
Yeah, I mean, if Houston won this week, they would have been out of contention, and I don't see how they could get into contention, you know?
Right. Like they haven't made like a move like where it's like Arlington or Vegas that's gonna shake up their team to where they can make a late push or whatever. But like they haven't
Yeah,
done that, you know? Just kind of been it's
I
gonna be the
guess.
same old, same old.
Yeah.
Until they fix the penalties, they're not gonna go anywhere.
Nope.
Same deal. Um yeah, so Houston on that slide, we've talked about them a lot today. To finish the season, they host St. Louis here this week. Then they travel to San Antonio to play the Brahmas. Next week, the week after that, then in week nine, they host the Vegas Vipers,
Yeah.
and then in the final week of the season, they travel to Arlington. So, what? Like, I think that's
They got a pretty
every
light schedule besides
pretty
the
light
St.
schedule. I'd
Louis
say St.
game.
Louis is the toughest team there.
Yeah.
Everybody, which is yeah. Out of all those teams, I think St. Louis is probably the toughest they play, and that's at home at the very least. So they don't even have to travel. Where do we see this team finishing, record wise?
Um, I think they'll probably lose one more. So 7-3.
7-3, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because I think they'll beat Arlington, they'll beat San Antonio, and they'll beat Vegas. It's like the St. Louis game is like up in the air. Maybe that just
Exactly.
spoiled our picks, but we'll see. I'm not completely sold on that yet, that idea yet.
We shall see.
Um, Arlington and San Antonio, both these teams also very early, but after this back to back, we sit at the same spot we were 2 weeks ago with San Antonio with a 1 game lead.
Uh,
Who do we see coming out of this train wreck with all the
Arlington's
moves
got
that's
the one
happening?
game lead.
Oh, did I say San Antonio?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Arlington with the 1 game lead is at the moment at sitting at 3-3. San Antonio at 2-4.
Yeah.
Who do we see walking out of this train wreck?
Um, just looking at their next games, San Antonio does have some of the easier games. Just going through the rest of the season. Although
Yeah,
well, I don't actually know if that's true. I mean, they got Vegas and Orlando again, but they also got to play Houston and DC. So
right. So you could like split there probably.
yeah, so if they stay the same, if both teams stay the same with a -2 record for San Antonio, which I think is very possible, and then or Arlington, I could see them just staying at 500. So Arlington would make it there.
So hard for me because like I'm looking at Arlington. Like I don't see Arlington being. Um, I won't spoil our picks for this week. Like Orlando, like they should beat them, but like
Yeah,
anything's possible. Um, I don't see them beating DC in DC. That's just not going to happen.
no,
And I don't see them beating Houston. So it's already 2 losses. So they have 2 games left there with a 1 game lead. And what do we say, San Antonio? What are we thinking here with San Antonio? They get 1 win with Vegas. They beat Vegas, let's say. Let's say they
And then
lose to
depending on what
Houston.
DC does that last week, I could see San Antonio maybe getting a win against a backup squad for DC.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, God, I mean that's gonna come down to the wire, dude. It's pretty close, I think.
Yeah.
I mean that could go either way. We'll get a little bit more clarity after the games coming this week, which I think it's about time for. Felix, do you have the games up for this week, my man?
Yes, I do. Just let me pull them up here real quick.
Appreciate it. Thank you, dude.
Okay, so heading into week 7, we have some good games this week, some questionable ones as well, but overall should
We
be
got a bit
pretty
of a
entertaining.
mismatch. We're gonna do it.
Yeah, yeah. Should be pretty entertaining either way. So first, let's just overview the days. We have a Friday match and 2 Saturday matches, and then a Sunday match as well. So on Friday, we have the 4-2 Seattle Sea Dragons going into Arlington to play the 3-3 Renegades. That is on Friday, March 31st, 7-6 Central. Next up, we have the 2-4 San Antonio Brahmas going into Vegas to play the 1-5 Vegas Vipers. That is on Saturday, April 1st at 3-2 Central.
April Fools.
After that, yeah, April
Hey,
Fools. We got 2 April Fools games this week. Hopefully, they're more than just a joke, even though one of them might be, as Ethan said. We'll get into that
that
later.
was good. That was good.
And that is actually next up. We have the undefeated 6-0 DC Defenders going into Orlando to play the 0-6 Guardians.
Jesus.
That is on Saturday, April 1st as well at 6-5 Central. So literally the best team and the worst team completely flipped there. And then finally, our Sunday match, we have what should be a pretty tight game, and this is going to be Team Nine's game of the week. It is the 4-2 St. Louis Battlehawks going into Houston to play the 4-2 Houston Roughnecks, and that is going to be Sunday, April 2nd at 2-1 Central.
So
Love
we
it,
got a
buddy.
game
Thank
of the
you.
week. Do we got a toilet bowl of the week here?
I, I mean,
It
we
might
could.
have to be Defenders Guardians just based on
But like
just based on
San Antonio and Vegas is gonna be such a crapshoot as well.
yeah, that too. I honestly, yeah, either
You
one.
can go either
It's
way.
weird to say that a top team could be in a toilet bowl, but it's possible. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Let's clarify the whole marketing spiel there. Yeah, so we came up with this concept of the Team Nine Game of the Week, which if I've noticed a lot of people I've been talking to like I don't have this problem, at least when watching XFL, and tell me if you guys do, I guess, or just any sporting
Yeah.
event. Where like
Yeah.
they like my friends and like the people I've talked to, like or I've just seen like talk about it, they like consistency, like a schedule with it, to where like so like the NFL,
Monday, Thursday,
that you
Sunday.
have like your early games and your yeah, Monday through Thursday, but then yeah, Monday, Thursday, Sunday, Saturday, whatever, but on Sundays, they can wake up and they know exactly what time the games are,
Yeah.
and they can start watching. But the XFL is kind of all over the place,
Yeah.
and I don't personally have that problem. But a lot of people are just like, oh yeah, I don't. A lot of I don't watch a lot of the games just because I don't know what time they are. I'm like, dude, just look it up. Or they're just like, like I'm not like ready at that time. I'm like, I get that, but like I don't know. It just people I guess get into a habit of watching it. I guess on a schedule. I don't personally have that problem. It's like if I can watch it, I'll watch it. If I can't, I can't. But I don't know. Do you guys have that problem at all?
Well,
I
I guess we're
mean,
more like invested in it, right? So it's
Right. I guess
different.
so.
yeah.
But
I was gonna
still,
say, personally, for me, it's just like I see it like if you like something enough, then you'll take the initiative to look up what time it's at. If you're kind of
Sure.
just super casual and you're just like throwing it on in the background, then maybe it's not that big of a deal. So
Yeah.
if I'm actually committed to watching something and I enjoy watching it consistently, then I'll definitely go out of my way to look up the
kind
time and look at the schedule, see who's playing.
right.
But if it's kind of just throwing it on in the background or whatever, I guess it's more just a quality of life thing, knowing when the times are gonna be each
Yeah.
day, and
Right.
each week, what days the games are gonna be played on, so on and so forth.
That's a
Yeah.
good recap right
Anyway,
there.
yeah. Anyway, our marketing spiel is if you can somehow listen to this podcast but can't watch all the games this weekend, I we wanted to give you one game every week that you should really really watch. St. Louis Houston, we see that as the best game on the
100%.
slate this week.
Definitely.
A
Although
struggling
the toilet
or a
bowls have
struggling St.
seemed to
Louis
be the better
or
games.
wait, what?
Toilet bowls have seemed to be better games than games of the week.
I know I've been hyping up the games of the week or whatever. I always say game of the week, but I haven't like made it a thing until now. Like I'd say it's
Eventually.
the first week we've made it. Hopefully this is the week where we
We,
finally coin
we
the
better
thing.
hope they're good. I mean, that's going to be the playoffs, so we'll see, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, speaking of all these games, I think it's time to get into our Vegas view.
Alrighty.
So I guess we'll take a look back at last week. I went 8-4. John, you went 6-6. You went perfect 500,
Yeah.
which means I got to pick your profile picture again. On the fly, I picked Kurt Benkert's Twitter profile picture
I
because
have
it
no
looks
problem with that, actually.
really okay. The 1 for 6 with a pick.
I mean, those are bad stats, but, like, as a guy,
Yeah.
seems
Hey,
good.
he got the W, right? And he got
Yeah.
the post game interview. Jawan Paz literally started the game, played better, and didn't even get the post game interview.
Yeah, that's rough for him.
That's tough, man. That's tough.
Hey,
We're
Kurt
sorry,
Benford
Jawan
got his
Paz.
little moment of starlight.
5 seconds of fame.
Yeah, he got his 5 seconds of fame.
And both
Who
of us
knows? Maybe
said,
he'll blow up.
that he was going to start last weekend, or he wasn't going to play
Yeah,
at all
that
last
too.
week, and he did. So that brings us on the
Things seem to be
season
going well.
to. Yeah, I know. I'm sitting at 23-13, and John is sitting at 18-18, a perfect 500. Perfectly balanced as all things should be, as Thanos might say. I
Not
mean,
in this
hey, you're
case.
right there, dude. Down 5 picks with
I gotta gain some
40
ground,
stuff plus
though, here.
playoffs. Come
Hey, at
on,
least you
bro.
don't have a negative record.
That's facts.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's not
that's
necessarily good
true.
to have 500 either, but it's better than
Hey,
maybe.
500 through anything is. I'll
I
take
think
it.
most people take 500.
I mean, we
Anybody will
saw a
take.
losing record team get in the NFL playoffs last year.
That's facts. Hey, if you're shooting 500 in basketball, you're doing something good.
I
If
mean,
you're
you're in
batting
playoffs at that point,
batting
so
500. Wait, is batting 500 in baseball good? Is that a good thing or is that not good?
That's pretty good, I
that's
think.
insanely good.
Yeah,
That's
that's
Okay,
insanely
good.
good.
I thought I was gonna say batting 1,000, but that always means 100%. I'm like, what? I'm like,
If
Closer
batting
you're
to
1,000
hitting
is
baseball is
better than
like
50%
50.
of those coming at
yeah,
you.
it's like point
Yeah, that's
three
true.
is point three is exceptional in baseball.
Yeah.
Like
That means
shooting.
you're
It's like
hitting.
I guess it's like if a casual saw like 42% for like a basketball player, they're like, wow, that sucks. It's like, no, it's actually really good.
No one ever has point .5 in baseball. That's literally outstanding.
Unless
All
it's
right,
free throws.
well,
If you're going
thank you for
500
that.
free throws,
I had no idea.
Yes, yeah,
I heard they were oh, by the way, I just
that's
random
troubling.
topic. I was I was on ESPN today and
Pretty
I looked at like
gross.
the little bottom ticker they have on the screen and the what's it called? The bottom ticker said that like they have that pitch clock or whatever for baseball, the spring training
oh yeah,
games, and they shortened games to like 2 hours and like 30 minutes, which is like shorter than the XFL game. I'm like, so what the hell? Like
that's
we're shorter than
crazy.
the XFL games now? That's crazy to me.
Wow, baseball is short.
I know.
Still
I
not gonna
call
watch it,
baseball
but
slow, dude. Still not gonna
unheard of.
watch it. I'm still gonna claim it's slow, but I guess I can't do that
You
anymore.
know,
I think it's
I
more of
watch
a
the
pace
playoffs.
thing when it comes to like football. As baseball, it's like okay, here, here, here.
You know, baseball's not that bad live, and I understand the game, and I watch the playoffs like every year at least somewhat. So you know, I don't
Hmm.
mind it too much. I don't like. I'm not one of those people that will avidly watches the regular season, but you know, I don't have
Yeah,
anything against them. I guess
they have way
it's
too
not
Yeah,
my
many
what?
thing.
games in the regular season. Anyways,
You're gonna have to give us some baseball
Yeah, it's
takes
my
whenever
thing.
playoffs and stuff comes around, and that stuff kind of starts making
Oh
the
yeah,
entire
yeah.
the news just in
I'm
general.
the hockey
yeah.
guy too. If we ever decide to
Yes,
talk that,
sir.
but
Yes, sir. We're gonna do that a little bit as well. Anyway, let's get into the picks this week. Let's start with the first game. Sea Dragons, Renegades. Friday night game. It's our first Friday game. This one's in Arlington. So, but Sea Dragons favored by 4 points on the road. And the total points is at 37.5. Let's say over under. Oh, by the way, we switched sportsbooks this week. I've been using BetMGM, but I saw that ESPN uses Caesars to get their lines like on the
They
broadcast.
do. Yeah.
So I didn't know know what the big if there was like a big difference, which I don't think there is, but like between those two lines, like I think the market kind of stays the same. But I thought I'd just use it just for I don't know, just to stay on brand, I guess I should say. Anyway, yeah, Sea Dragons favored by 4 on the road, over under at 37.5 in Arlington. Uh, John, what do you got on this one? What are you thinking?
Well, before I go there, Choctaw Stadium, where tickets are as low as $3.
Guy's always the ticket price guy. He loves that thing on the ESPN website where you can go see the ticket prices. Most expensive games, Houston at $20. Damn.
It's a mini
Makes
segment at
sense.
this point, like ticket prices
At
of the
this point,
week,
yeah, we'll just do a ticket price segment for John just to feed his
literally.
hunger.
We
I
do a
will
whole
take it.
minute long segment.
Do we want to spoil that? Our plan? No, we'll save it. We'll
No.
save it. It's for
It'll be a
later down the line.
surprise.
Bro, we won't. We're just gonna leave it at that. We won't say anything more.
Yeah,
Anyway,
little hint.
John, what do you got on this game, man? What are you thinking?
Um, Arlington's in shambles, especially getting rid of Kyle Sloter. Um, gotta take Seattle on everything.
Okay, so that covers your money line, your spread. So you're taking the -4. Obviously, you're taking the money line there.
And send me
Over
the over.
over at 37.5.
Yep.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's a weird. Yeah, okay. So no, I'll definitely take Seattle on the spread and the money line. I'm not concerned about that. It's the over under for me. How much better will Arlington get in a week, if at all? Well, I'd say definitely the San Antonio defense is better than the
San Antonio.
or yeah, the San Antonio defense is better than the Seattle defense. So I'm
Oh,
just
I
kind of
see what
looking
you're
at what
saying.
but this the offense is. We don't know what Perez is going to be able to do with this group.
If he even
I don't
starts
know
again, that's a
if
thing.
he even plays at all. Um, you took the over on this one.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take the under just to be problematic
Okay.
and make it an interesting watch for us. I'm gonna take
Gotcha.
the under on that one, 37.5. Seattle's offense, those red zone turnovers until those stop, I'm not completely sold on taking, uh, you know,
That's fair.
like Seattle to go far, like into or like make the playoffs or anything. So I think that can take points off the board, and especially with Arlington, that defense is already pretty good. We've already seen them
Yeah.
play really well. One of the best defenses. I want to see what is their points allowed on the season now. Oh my goodness. 101. That's second best in the league, behind San Antonio with 88. Damn, they're the only team holding teams under 100 points through their first 6 games.
Yeah.
Granted they've played Arlington twice, but you could say the same thing about Arlington playing San Antonio twice. Anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna take the under there. It's problematic.
Alrighty.
All right. This is an interesting one. Brahmas Vipers in Vegas. Um, so San Antonio coming into this one with a better record, but Vegas favored by 2.5. Over under at 38.5. So far high 30s on these
Yeah.
over unders. But I guess those are the two games with Arlington and San Antonio of like the two worst offenses in the league. So yeah, John, what do you think on this one?
Uh, First off, you know what we gotta do? Ticket prices
Oh
as
God.
low as $6 here at
You know
Cashman
what?
Field.
You know what? Somebody's gonna want to know. So
Yeah, exactly. Um, let's see. I am gonna take San Antonio's money line, which means they're gonna cover, right?
2.5. Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna be under though. So
Oh, so you're taking under. Did you take money line?
yeah, San Antonio.
Okay. Yeah, 38.5. So San Antonio's defense is really good. So they can, like I'm sure look at look at stops on Brett Hundley, but Brett Hundley
The
will get his
fumble
due.
six they had against Drew Plitt last week was a read option that they read perfectly. So I think that is pretty much what's tipping
That's
me over
true.
right here.
Okay, I like that. Um, and then San Antonio's offense has been absolute crap, and I don't see that changing. Even against Vegas, Vegas defense sucks, but I don't. I'll take the under there too. Actually, I'm gonna agree with you on that one. Um, yeah, this is a weird one because it's like, so you took San Antonio to win this one.
Yes.
I like the upset call. I feel like definitely San Antonio's got more momentum, but it's like, God, it's a close one. I don't know. It's hard to take San Antonio with this quarterbacks right now. Yeah, until they settle on a guy, I'm gonna take. God, I hate to say it. I really don't want to say it because it's like, geez, it's Vegas. Like they. Nah, but you know what? I'm gonna say they can beat San Antonio. I'm gonna take the Vipers in this one, and
Alright.
I'll take their spread too. I'm gonna be a problem child.
Okay.
-2.5. So we're different on that one for the most part. So we got some different picks this week. All right, let's go to the game of the week. The DC Defenders and the Orlando
Game of
Guardians.
the
That was a
week.
joke. That was a joke. That was a joke. Calm down. Calm down. Um, this is the biggest line we've seen in the XFL so far this season, 9.5. I mean, you could flip these two teams' records and, they'd be the same. Anyway, so yeah, and the over-under's at 45.
Jeez.
Damn, it's pretty high. All right, John, what do we think on this one, man?
Ticket prices.
Oh, go for it.
Tickets as low as $4. In Orlando. We'll see if they.
Orlando's giving out free tickets a lot of the time, it seems like.
Yeah, we'll see
I've
if
seen it
they
on
give out
Twitter.
more free tickets this week.
I'm sure they will.
Probably.
I'm gonna need to.
And
Uh,
again, this could be like a good opportunity for them to make money. Number one team. I don't know.
That's true. You could
well,
have
that's
some.
why ticket prices raised from $2 to $4 from last week.
Yeah, true.
Oh, wow.
I was
Damn,
gonna say
you got
maybe
splurge.
maybe
You
instead
got
of free
splurge for the
tickets,
you got splurge
they'll
for the
have
box seats. $4.
maybe instead of free tickets, they'll have $2 tickets or something. I
That's
don't
true.
know.
Uh,
You want these tickets? Just give me the socks off your feet. Anyways,
what?
I don't know where.
I was just sus, bro. All right, we're gonna go to the picks. I'm just gonna make my picks because you're just sus.
Hey yo,
Uh,
hey yo.
I'm gonna take the. Believe it or not, I'm gonna take Defenders money line. Yeah, I said it. I made a statement. No, I'm also gonna take the nine and
That
a
is
half point
crazy.
spread. God, the nine. I hate taking a 9.5 point spread, but it's like I can't with Orlando at the moment. And so what? Like they have to score like 20. I guess the DC just run up the score on this one. Maybe they don't. Maybe they kind of play it safe. 45's high. Uh, John, what are you thinking on this one? I'm gonna think on my over under.
I'm gonna do the same as you did with the first two lines, TC money line, and they're gonna cover the spread. I'm looking at whenever they've played Vegas here, and they've played Vegas twice. Vegas usually has put up a decent point total compared to DC, so I'm gonna take the over.
Now I'm thinking about it a lot because of the garbage time, like last week,
Yeah.
like where like DC can just sit back and like just let a team cook or whatever down the stretch. I could see that being a thing. Plus, Orlando likes that big play for whatever reason. They seem to get it
Mm-hmm.
here and there. They didn't really get it last week, but um, yeah, I'll take the over. 45 is high, but I'll take it. I'll take the over there. All right,
All
let's move
right.
to our game of the week, the Team Nine game of the week. Our one Sunday game, the Battlehawks and the Roughnecks in Houston, H-Town on the two-game slide. We've talked about them enough today. They're favored by 3 in this game, over under at 44. Sean, what do we like in this one, man?
Well, we finally got some good ticket prices here,
Oh God.
as they're as low as $20, so that's nice. I mean, nice for the league, maybe not nice for somebody's pocket.
I was about to say, I'm like, I don't know whose side you're on here. I'm for the listeners or the Warrock's pocket.
um, yeah, Houston's favored by 3. I don't believe in them, so I'm going St. Louis to cover, and they're gonna win. So,
What are
yeah.
you taking on over under 44?
Let's see. Whenever these two teams play a good team, it usually goes over. Take the history here; it's gonna go over.
All right. For me, it's hard to trust like the quarterback carousels, right? That's why I didn't. I like your Brahmas pick because I think that game can go either way, and the Brahmas definitely have the better defense. But I can't trust the quarterback carousel because that could just throw a monkey wrench in anything because all it takes is a pick six or just whatever by them, and then Vegas has like a explosive enough offense in order to go score. So in this one, Houston, I like I said, I believe in them, but if they're, I think they have an easy schedule down the stretch. So if they're gonna lose anyone, it would be this one. So I'm gonna say that Houston, or no, St. Louis wins this one. Cover the spread. You can take the spread there, at minus 110 at +3. But yeah, I'll take the upset here. And on the over under, yeah, I just haven't seen that And Houston, yeah, I mean their defense hasn't been great lately. I'll take the over. I think I'll take the over.
Alrighty.
All right, we want to run through this one. We want to run through our picks one more time.
Uh, if I can remember.
Hmm. All right. Well, the Sea Dragons traveling to
Oh,
Arlington to play the Renegades. I had the Sea Dragons spread money line, and I'm taking the under in this one.
yeah.
Did you take? You
What
had the
was
over,
this
didn't
one?
you?
Alright, yeah, I was taking Seattle as well. What did
Both money line and
I
spread.
took the over here, I think.
Yeah, you took the over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Brahmas Vipers. This one's a toss up, closest spread of the week. Uh, Vipers favored at 2.5 at home. You took the Brahmas spread, the money line, and you took the what was it? Did you take the? I think we both took the under on this one.
I think I took the under there.
Yeah, I think I also took the under just based on the whole defensive thing. Yeah. So we are all well, except for me. I took the Vegas Vipers. You took the Brahmas. So
Yeah.
two different games we're calling there basically. So that could definitely flip things. I took the Viper spread as well, I should say, because they're the favorites. So I should mention that. Game of the week: Defenders Guardians in Orlando, or mismatch of the entire season. Defenders favored by 9.5 on the road. I took the spread. I took their money line, and I took the over. There's gonna be some fireworks in this one. You had the same thing, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're pretty agreed on that game. Battlehawks Roughnecks. We both took the upset here with St. Louis.
Yeah.
We always like them to upset for some reason. I can never seem to pick them on an upset, but maybe this week. And we both took the over, right? You talked me into it, I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, we both took the over because we were saying that it just seems like when the good teams play, it seems like the overs you're usually hitting. All right, so that's it for this week's Vegas View. So last week we introduced around the USFL because we are indeed Team 9 in XFL and USFL podcast. We haven't been fulfilling our USFL duties just because the season hasn't really started yet. Training camp started last week, so we talked a little about some returning players, some new players coming through. Read an article by RJ Young on Fox Sports and the USFL.com. You can check that out over there. But I do want to bring this up, guys. Obviously, we talked about it a little bit last week. The Tampa Bay Bandits moving to
Yeah.
Memphis to become the Showboats, and they're going to be hosting games this year in Liberty Stadium. I forget the exact name of the stadium. Memphis Showboats Stadium. Do a little Googling. Simons Bank Liberty Stadium. That's where the Liberty Bowls host every year for college football.
Yep.
Anyways, obviously they did their logo and helmet kind of reveals a while ago, but they finally released these jerseys. What do we think, guys? I saw these get a lot of backlash just for being I don't know what people didn't really like about them. I guess people were saying like, oh, if they released the name, the logo, and the helmet or whatever with the jerseys, like the backlash wouldn't have been as bad. But like people didn't like these for some reason. What do we think on these?
I don't know, I actually thought they were pretty clean.
Felix, what do you think on these?
I don't mind them. I don't think it's not my favorite design, but it's not nothing worth hating on, I'd say.
Yeah,
I'm kind of just neutral on this design personally.
yeah.
If I was a fan, I wouldn't be against like get buying a jersey or something. Like it's not that horrendous. It's not like my favorite design. I'm like honestly just completely neutral.
I love like the name, the branding, like the logo. The jerseys are fine. They could be
Mm-hmm.
better. They could be worse. I don't think they're bad, but they're not
Yeah,
amazing either. I just think it's a meh jersey for
yeah,
and I guess people were I guess it was the hype for people like the hype because I get again like the showboats like that's awesome dude. That's an awesome name. The logo's
yeah.
awesome.
The logo is pretty
They
cool.
they get to host, which is something that we only had in Birmingham last year. Now they're gonna get a home crowd too. So the city was excited, and just to kind of I guess for some people the uniforms kind of fell flat on their face. I do want to mention that once the Pittsburgh Maulers come out with their redesigned black and yellow, black and gold jerseys, we do want to do a USFL like jersey ranking I guess
Yeah.
segment. I want to get everybody on that because I think we can all do that. And I think we can all add our little expertise. Anyway, that was it for around the USFL this week. Just short and sweet. Training camp is still going on. We'll keep you updated with anything that comes up out of training camp. All
Hmm.
right. So we've reached the end of the show, which means it's time for off the wall. Felix, Mr. Hawaiian man, you're up, my man.
Got it. So my off the wall this week isn't necessarily about anything that's happened, but more what's going to happen. So I'm back from my top three colleges in the next 2 days. This is being recorded on Wednesday, so on Thursday and Friday, I hear back from Duke, Dartmouth, and Harvard cumulatively, like all those in the next 2 days. So, kind of stressed about that, thinking about it. What happens, happens. Obviously, they're insanely hard schools to get into. Just praying for the best and hoping I get in. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. We're getting towards close to like I guess what do you call that? I guess it's not decision day because decision day is like what
Lunchtime.
May 1st. Yeah, crunch time
But
here.
yeah,
Yeah, we're starting to the hammer's
I
starting to
have
hit
to
the
think
nail
about
on the
where to
head. Yeah,
go. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So
We're
hey,
getting to
if
that point.
anyone listens early enough, probably not for Harvard or Dartmouth, but for Duke or anything, shoot a prayer out for a brother. It'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, we appreciate it, guys. Anybody sending out
Yeah.
prayers? Um, yeah, I'm getting some decisions here in a couple days. The scholarship
All sorts of
work
stuff
is
going on.
crazy right now, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's the whole next step, I think. Just kind of applying for all that stuff, writing more essays, which is gonna
Yeah,
kill me. But yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's kind of life right now. And then I guess we could just mention the Hawaii trip too. Just had a great time on that. Hung out with some friends. Um, there's a lot of freedom, so we weren't like super constrained by teachers at all. Curfew was 10 p.m. every night. It was 11 p.m. the last night, so that was
Damn, you
fun.
didn't get to
That's nice.
experience Hawaii nightlife?
Not like late night life, but I guess semi late night life.
9 p.m., 9:30
Yeah,
type beat.
10
Yeah,
p.m. late. I mean, I think a lot of people snuck out on after. Honestly, I never did because
yeah.
I don't know. I
That's what
just
some
follow
people.
the
I didn't
rules.
mention that last time on the off the wall, but that's what they did on my retreat too.
Oh
That
yeah,
was kind
people
of
were
like that.
wilding on that trip. I kind of just
Yeah.
follow the rules, kids.
Good stuff.
But
Good
yeah.
stuff. But oh, you're only supposed to have one topic, asshole. No, I'm kidding. I don't give a
Okay,
fuck.
okay,
No,
okay. A
you're
little more
fine. I don't give a
short.
shit. I don't give a shit.
Send
Um,
a prayer for the colleges, please.
yeah, send some prayers. That's all Felix wants. That's all we
Yeah.
want at the moment.
All we want is prayers,
We'll be
literally.
praying for y'all too. No worries.
Yeah. Praying
Anyway,
for all of you guys too, yeah.
yeah. Speaking of the end of the year, I think I have like what 13 or 12 school days left for me. I know you guys end
Really?
a little late, but like, yeah, it's
Holy moly,
ridiculous.
bro. What?
Yeah,
You
I
you
know.
end in April?
Yeah, it's like I graduated in May, bro.
Holy shit.
It's crazy.
Sorry,
No, it's
pardon my
ridiculous.
French.
No, it's fine. We can swear on this podcast. It's okay.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, that's
but
crazy, bro.
anyway, it's getting down to prom season, and yeah, I'm not going to prom, son. Some people,
Respectable.
this is again, this it's not. I'm not trying to be like an elitist. This isn't my off the wall. I just thought I'd say I find like the whole prom experience like kind of corny, low key.
Yeah,
Fair
So
I
enough.
like
feel you.
I'm not going to that. Instead, me and my dad grew up in LA, in his like early 20s, and he was just a guy who liked basketball. And since Laker tickets were so damn expensive,
I can
Clipper
confirm.
tickets were so damn cheap,
Oh,
and so he became a Clipper fan basically for life off that. And he's been a Clipper fan since then. And when he
For
gave birth
nation.
to this little baby boy over here, I've kind of become a Clipper fan. And let's just say they come to I'll just say the city. Why not? Doesn't really matter.
Docs.
They come to New Orleans. They come to New Orleans this weekend to play the Pelicans on Saturday night. So I'm going to that with my dad, and then when I get back, I'm going to a prom after party, and I didn't even go to the prom. So
damn.
Oh, damn, you're
yeah,
just finessing like that, eh?
I really
No,
am
I
finessing
respect
like
that. I
that.
respect that.
I think
You
it'll be a
dox
fun night.
yourself, but hey, it is what
It's,
it is.
it's I'm not gonna incarcerate myself anymore.
If
John,
friendly
you're up.
viewers,
John, you're up,
listeners.
buddy.
Alrighty, I'll bring it back to football one last segment.
Yes,
Punters
sir.
are people too.
Oh,
Let's bring it in we had a lot of good punters showcase their good work last week. For Seattle, Cameron, forgive me on his name here, Nizialik.
It's a
I
tough name. I
believe.
don't blame you, dude.
If I pronounced that wrong, I'm sorry. He
Wish I
had
knew wish I knew how that was spelled.
Nizialek.
Mm.
Yep. Can't even remember.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, yeah, you're good.
he had 5 punts because reasons, and 215 yards on those 5 punts, and a long of 53, doing pretty good there. For Orlando, we had Mac Brown punt 241 yards on 5 punts, 58 yards was his long, and 1 inside the 20. Bring it down to Arlington, the guy Marquette King Jr., 278 yards, a long of 57, 1 inside the 20.
Love that guy, dude.
Michael Carrizosa for Vegas, 150 yards, not too many, but 2 inside the 20 there. Brad
Nice.
Wing in San Antonio, 346 yards.
I love Brad Wing, bro. But that also is just a testament to the toilet bowl that was this
Yeah.
game. The absolute preseason game that was this.
On 7 attempts, so you kind of expect that. But he had a long of 58 and 2 inside the 20. Over to Houston, we had Race Porter, 172 yards, 4 kicks, a long of 49 and 1 inside the 20. And to round it out, off to St. Louis, we got Sterling Hoffrichter for St. Louis, 135 on 3, a long of 56. And to round it out, Daniel Wheeland for DC only kicked 1 time, but a 63-yard punt.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that's a rocket, man. That's a rocket.
yeah,
That's crazy.
So, yeah, he only punted once for DC.
he only punted once.
That's gotta be a nice job sitting on the sideline, getting the leg warmed up all day just to punt it once. Must be a nice job being the DC Defenders punter right now. I also, speaking of special teams love, I love this. John Parker Romo, I forgot to mention this in the recap, and I'm actually really upset at myself for it. He was 3 for 3 on field goals today. Take away those 9 points, and San Antonio loses this game.
Yeah.
But they actually went up to, I don't know if it was his girlfriend or his wife, I forget exactly. But they basically said that they had like their gender reveal party the day before the game, and then they traveled for the game. And let's just say John Parker Romo's going to be a girl dad. The guy's already the best kicker in this league. I think he's probably going to get a shot in NFL training camps in August and September. But yeah, shout out to John Parker Romo, girl dad, my man, girl dad.
Can't say the same for any of us.
Yeah, well,
not yet.
Oh, we already talked about ages. We're not going to do that again. We're not talking about our ages twice on this podcast. Yeah, like a couple weeks ago.
When we were talking about Wade Phillips.
Yeah, we were like adding up like our ages or whatever to see how many.
Oh my god, that's right. Oh my god.
We're not bringing up our ages again.
We've completely just.
I feel like
you did it. You did the whole math.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's all out there.
Yeah, that's good.
People know where Ethan lives at this point.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening to Team 9 in XFL and USFL. Oh my god. Anyway, thank you guys for listening all the way through this show. We really appreciate you guys listening to Team 9 and XFL and USFL podcast. Our socials are in the show notes or in the description. We're on Twitter, YouTube, Spotify. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah,
Do you guys got anything to say before we leave?
No. Have fun watching the games. If you watch them.
Yeah. Have fun watching the games. We really appreciate you guys listening, and if you made it this far, even more appreciation to you. Shout out for real. Thanks everyone for listening. Yeah. Have a great week. Have a great weekend.
No, that was perfect. Deuces.